Aloha food lovers, I'm Tiffany and this is my Vegan Aloha Kitchen. KFC recently announced that they will be rolling out a new Beyond fried chicken recipe. So today I'm going to try 3 different chicken nugget recipes to see if I can nail the new Beyond fried chicken. These recipes are a part of my vegan meat alternative series here on YouTube. If you want more like it, make sure to hit that subscribe button, ring the notification bell, and let's get started. I will be testing 3 chicken nugget recipes today, and for all of the recipes I will be adding vegetable broth seasoning, onion powder, and garlic salt for flavor. The first recipe will also use 1 cup of tofu and 2 cups of vital wheat gluten. Wheat gluten is the main protein found in wheat that goes through a process to remove all the starches from the flour. When the gluten dough is steamed, baked, or boiled, it becomes chewy with a very meat-like texture. It's also going to work to bind our ingredients together for our first 2 chicken recipes. For our tofu chicken nugget, I'm going to blend half a cup of tofu with 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, 2 teaspoons of onion powder, and 1 tablespoon of vegetable broth seasoning. Pulse in a blender until smooth, and then fold in the wheat gluten to form a soft dough. Knead the dough for 5 to 6 minutes until the dough becomes stretchy and elastic. This is called seitan. The seitan dough should be smooth and stretchy. Cover a mixing bowl and leave to rest for 10 minutes. Once rested, remove the dough from the bowl and slice into 3 even-sized pieces. Place each piece of seitan on a large piece of parchment paper, fold into desired shape, and wrap it up tightly. Cover with tinfoil and set aside. Next, bring a steamer to a boil and place all 3 pieces of the seitan in the steamer. If you don't have a steamer, you can create a makeshift one by placing a metal strainer in a large pot and adding water, making sure it is shallow enough to drain through the strainer. Steam for a total of 60 minutes, making sure to move the piece around halfway. Once the seitan is steamed, carefully remove from the steamer and allow it to cool at room temperature before placing in the fridge for at least an hour. Although this recipe is the most work, I think it will resemble the KFC original recipe the closest. KFC is known for its pull-apart chicken inside that crispy outer shell, and I think the wheat gluten will really help us achieve that texture. For the second recipe, I am adding 1 can of chickpeas, 1 cup of texturized vegetable protein, a half a cup of water, and the vital wheat gluten. Texturized vegetable protein is a highly nutritious soy product. I like to use this in my veggie burgers and tacos because it has a ground meat texture and soaks up any flavor that is added. To make this version, rehydrate the TVP by mixing with vegetable broth. Let this sit for 5 minutes until the TVP becomes soft. In the meantime, drain the bean reserve from the can of chickpeas and save for later to use as an egg replacer. Pat dry the beans and mash in a small bowl. Mix in TVP, onion powder, garlic salt, and wheat gluten and knead for about 5 minutes. If the mixture looks too wet, add in a little bit of flour, 1 tablespoon at a time. For this recipe, I'm going to roll out and cut the seitan in my chicken pieces before placing in the steamer. I'm placing these on the top of my tofu chicken, but you can just line the bottom of the basket with foil to prevent the seitan from coming in contact with the water. Reduce the water to a simmer, cover the pot, and steam for 30 minutes. Remove the cutlets from the pot and refrigerate for at least an hour. I have a feeling that this recipe is going to be my personal favorite. With the combination of the TVP and the chickpea, it's going to create a really chewy texture and will resemble what I remember eating as a kid. To make this recipe gluten-free, simply swap the wheat gluten for a gluten-free flour. Press into desired shape and place in the fridge to bind for at least an hour. For the gluten-free version, I'm going to go ahead and throw it directly in the skillet. You can also use an air fryer for any of these recipes. For the other two recipes, I'm going to make a coating that's going to mimic the KFC original recipe. We will start by making an egg wash by combining 1 cup of plant-based milk with 1 teaspoon apple cider vinegar, mixing and allowing this to blend for about 5 minutes to make a little buttermilk. Next, add 3 tablespoons of aquafaba to 1 tablespoon of ground flaxseed. The bean reserve from the chickpeas will act as an egg replacer. Mix together with cornstarch to help this thicken, and slowly whisk in the buttermilk. For the spice flour blend, I researched and found KFC's original recipe that was leaked and includes all 11 herbs and spices used to make the crispy outer layer we all know and love. To make the breading, mix together 2 cups of all-purpose flour, a half tablespoon of dried thyme leaves, a half tablespoon basil, 1/3 teaspoons of oregano, 1 tablespoon celery salt, 1 tablespoon ground black pepper, 1 tablespoon of dried mustard, 3 tablespoons paprika, 2 tablespoons garlic salt, 1 tablespoon ground ginger, 3 tablespoons of ground white pepper, and a half tablespoon of salt. Lay out the spice blend, buttermilk mixture, and breadcrumbs. Place each cutlet in the flour spice blend and then into the buttermilk and repeat. Coat in panko crumbs and place back into the flour until completely coated. Repeat the process with the rest of your cutlets. I promise it's all going to be worth it in a moment. To fry, heat oil in a high-sided frying pan over medium heat. Fry the chicken pieces for around 2 to 3 minutes on each side or until completely golden brown. Remove the chicken from the fryer and place on a few pieces of paper towels to drain. These can also be fried in an air fryer on 370 degrees. Cook for 10 minutes, then flip the pieces over and cook for another 5 minutes. So the verdict is that the middle one, made with chickpeas, wheat gluten, and TVP, is hands down my favorite. My second favorite is actually the gluten-free one. Overall, it holds together, it has a nice crispy outer edge, and it's definitely the healthiest and easiest of the 3. My least favorite of the 3 is the one made with tofu and wheat gluten. It's just a little dense for my preference, and really the fried breading on the outside saves it and makes it edible, but it's just not something that I want to keep eating. I could say with confidence that this is the best and most affordable vegan chicken nugget recipe that you're going to find. So send this recipe to your vegan friends and give a little love to this video by giving it a thumbs up and leaving a comment in the box below. As always, mahalo, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the kitchen.